my name is Pavlo Phitidis. Είμαι από τη Νότια Αφρική. My Greek and English mix, but my English is better, so I'm going to speak in English. I run AURIK Business Incubator, which we started 14 years ago. And today we have worked with over 1,000 entrepreneurs from startup to turnovers of, in dollar terms, around $80–90 million a year.
Can you give us a little background about the work you are doing in the business incubator you're running?
Okay, so the work that we do in AURIK Business Incubator is when we started, the word incubation was non-existent in South Africa, so we had to start right from the beginning, and we started by building and selling 12 businesses. And when we did that, we learned very quickly that the process of starting, building, valuing and selling a business gets easier and easier the more and more often you do it. From that, we created programs to work with startup entrepreneurs, early stage entrepreneurs and growth entrepreneurs. So we've got 3 different programs that we work with. Entrepreneurs come to us now at this stage because of the success we've had in the past. And when we work with them to build the business. So we run a virtual incubator, not an incubator that offers space. We run an incubator that works with the entrepreneur to build the business brick upon brick upon brick.
You said before that you are helping entrepreneurs to build an asset of value. Can you elaborate on that?
So the central theme about everything we do is we say that every entrepreneur should be building an asset of value. And an asset of value is a business that has got 3 characteristics. The first characteristic is that it's a business that you can scale. Very often what we find is that people chase marketing before they chase the ability to deliver on the results of marketing. When you build a business and you market very aggressively, if you can't deliver what you promise when you market, it's the beginning of the end already. So we focus very much on scaling a business. The next thing is, we build a business right from the beginning to secure funding. An investor wants to be able to see that they can enter into the business, they can manage their investment, but most importantly, they can sell their equity to get a return. And then the third thing we do is we make sure that in this asset of value, we have built a business that will maximize the valuation of the business. This is important for 2 reasons. The first reason is that as an entrepreneur, when you chase your funding, you want to make sure you can argue a maximum value. That means you dilute less. The second reason, the most important reason, is every business's destination, but every business is a sale. Ultimately, it might be sooner, it might be later, but you will be selling your business. And as an entrepreneur, that sale is what gives you your liquidity moment, your capital gain. From there, you can build your next business using your own money without having to look for outside investment, owning most of the equity. And that's what we call an entrepreneurial career path.
Can you give us an idea of the results, the companies you have worked with so far? What results did they have?
So we've worked with over 1,000 businesses since we began 12, 13, 14 years ago. We've got 3 different programs, one for startup, one for early stage, one for growth. Our growth program has on average 148 companies in it. And what we do is each year, the turnover last year grew 102%. The year before that was 108%. When they start with us and come into the growth program, these companies are doing on average in dollar terms about $700,000–800,000 a year in turnovers.
Can you give us a little background about the entrepreneurial ecosystem in South Africa?
Okay, the entrepreneurial ecosystem in South Africa is quite a tough environment. There are basically 2 big players in our economy. The first player is government, and government is trying quite hard to broaden the idea of entrepreneurship in South Africa. The reason for it being, we have a 25 to 28% unemployment rate, and our economy is only growing at 2% per annum. With that unemployment, studies have shown that small businesses generate most of the jobs. For that reason, small businesses have become part of government policy. The second environment is that we've got very big, well-established businesses, and the relationship between big business and small business is very important. So we're doing a lot of work to try and demonstrate to big businesses that small businesses are not a threat, but actually that small businesses have the ability to innovate their supply chains to improve the performance of the big business. And in doing that work, along with the efforts of government, the ecosystem's building. Mostly, the ecosystem's made up of incubators, similar to ours, although we're the best in the country. The second area is that there's funding that's slowly coming into South Africa, but that funding is not even organized. It's very, very spread out. We're introducing tax laws to try and improve angel investment, but those tax laws haven't come through yet. So the funding ecosystem is still very weak.
You made the point before about the post-apartheid society in South Africa that is, let's say, forcing white educated men to explore entrepreneurship as a choice, to find a job or as a living option. Can you tell us about that?
So in South Africa, we have a number of policies to try and introduce a more balanced economy. In the history of South Africa, there was something called apartheid, which was a law that separated black people and white people from all opportunities, including economic opportunities. In the last 20 years of democracy, we've introduced policies into the country to provide further opportunities for black people who never before had access to the economy. Given that, there's an emergence now of many new early-stage businesses, and at the same time, we have a program of affirmative action that enables big companies to provide opportunities for black job seekers over and above those of white job seekers. This has had an interesting dynamic in our economy. What it's meant is that a lot of white educated people who can't find jobs in corporate South Africa have had to become entrepreneurs. And those educated white entrepreneurs are building world-class businesses. Their big opportunity is to take the South African innovation and introduce it into the world, and we're seeing more and more and more of that activity taking place. The kinds of businesses that South Africans are creating in the entrepreneurial space are businesses to service big businesses in the industrial environment. We've got a very strong industrial base because South Africa was based on the mining industry. Increasingly, more and more technology companies are coming about, especially technology companies that are suited to emerging market economies. In other words, companies that are producing applications and programs that don't require very high bandwidth speeds, but can be used in what's referred to as the bottom of the pyramid consumer. That is, consumers who've got very few means, but use technology to try and improve the purchase price that they pay for foodstuffs, for money transfers, for accommodation, and for transport.
And one last question. You're here in Athens today. You had the chance to meet with some startups here at the Cube. What do you see in these startups?
The tech spaces that I've seen and the entrepreneurs I'm seeing running them, what makes them really interesting to me is that they all identified problems in the work they were doing before, and the businesses they've created today are the solutions to those problems. So the ideas that they have are rooted in real business problems. It's unusual that mostly people have a good idea and they start to build a business with a good idea. What I like about what I've seen here at the Cube is that people are starting businesses to solve a problem before it was an idea in their head. It was a problem that they experienced. As far as Greece goes and the environment I'm seeing in Greece, the view is that honestly, you've got one life. Nobody cares about you. So whoever you are out there, don't rely on government, don't rely on big institutions. It's really important you make an effort to establish your own business and to be entrepreneurial. Because if you don't and nobody cares about you, nothing will change. If you make that effort to start your own business, and in doing that, you fail once, you fail twice. If you come into an environment like this, you have the support of other people who have also failed, but in that failure is where the real opportunity for that business lies. So get up and make it happen.